You saw last night the difference between someone who's been answering questions and someone who is not.
Yeah.
That's right.
JD Vance got his reps in. Walz did not. Walz was scared. He was sped up. He seemed almost coked up, super like nervous and he seemed.
Matt Welch says
he
Walz
acted
is
as
doing
if
coke.
he was. He's not doing coke. He was on ibogaine. We know this. But like, yeah, you see the difference of it. And this is a point again that Vance sort of made at the end. Like, oh, how can they talk about democracy? This is this deflection about January 6th when they are really bad on censorship, which they are. And part of the not only just being bad on censorship, but if you really care about democracy, you subject yourself to scrutiny. They have not. And like the little bit of scrutiny that the moderators added last night, which I appreciated actually, when they went straight in for the Tiananmen Square question and didn't give him the off-ramp on it, just like, what were you doing, dude? And did, something similar to Vance about the Trump-Hitler quote too. That was fine. He was absolutely trapped. He was a deer in the headlights. You've got to subject yourself to scrutiny. They haven't. They think that they can waltz into the White House without taking questions, and that's just in the front.
Let me just show, because you're exactly right in the dynamic, and you could tell Walz was unsteady on his feet. Here is part of his very first answer. They kicked off the debate by going to him, and the question was basically as follows: Iran launched its largest attack yet on Israel. Blah, blah, blah. Would you support or oppose a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran? And here's Tim Walz.
Governor Walz, if you were the final voice in the Situation Room, would you support or oppose a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran? You have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you. And thank you for those joining at home tonight. Let's keep in mind where this started. October 7th, Hamas terrorists massacred over 1,400 Israelis and took prisoners. Israel's ability to be able to defend itself is absolutely fundamental. Getting its hostages back, fundamental, and ending the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. But the expansion of Israel and its proxies is an absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have the steady leadership there. You saw it experienced today, where along with our Israeli partners and our coalition, able to stop the incoming attack. But what's fundamental here is that steady leadership is going to matter.
4 fundamentals and 2 confusing, saying Israel when you meant Iran. Not ideal. May I remind you of Donald Trump's first tweet when she chose him? Thank you. That was just... I mean, he did seem unsteady. And that's the thing, because one of the goals when you get out there, Kmele, is to try to project, don't worry, if anything happens at the top, I can do this job. And at no point last night did Tim Walz convey that.
Yeah, for a moment there, I almost thought, he's going to get into the thing, like pull out the little board and start drawing up a play. Like, this is what you do. This is how you do it. This is Coach Walz, ready to go. It's just, he was not prepared for this moment on so many different levels. But I do think like he was just off to a shaky start there. And I was hoping that he meant Iran and its proxies as opposed to Israel and its proxies. He just clearly out of his depth last night. And look, he's had better moments. Some of his speeches have been great. Some of the various campaign events, he's had these just really energetic performances. I gave him compliments for his DNC performance, but those are not hostile interrogations. And to the extent debates matter at all, it is that they give you a sense of what these people might be like under pressure. And I think Kamala Harris comported herself much better than her counterpart did last night. But certainly when she's been in these interview contexts, even when they're not particularly hostile interviews, she has not been great. And Walz last night was not great. So I think in both instances, they've kind of taken a bit of an L there. And how much will this matter to the American people eventually? How much does this factor into the actual election? I don't know.
That Cook political report out today says nothing's mattered. Nothing's changed the numbers. That debate between Trump and Harris did not change the numbers. The endorsements by Taylor Swift, whatever, Elon Musk did not change the numbers. Nothing's changing the numbers. They're as tight could be. I do want to spend a minute or two, Moynihan, on the moment where he got confronted about his lie about being in China when Tiananmen Square happened.
I think he was in a tank.
He was standing in front of the tank. Bravely.
He was the man with his tank. He was the man with the bag.
I mean, you have to ask with Walz, which side was he on? Which was he with the Chinese? He loves the Chinese so very much.
Wow.
So he said he was over there. It happened in the spring of 89. And it was in the spring. And he did not go over there until August, which, as the audience may know, is not spring by anyone's estimation. And it was part of a pattern of dishonesty by this guy. So to their credit, they raised it yesterday. I would have styled it even tougher, to be honest with you. I would have raised the series of lies he's told. But okay, fine, I'll take what I can get. And it was a meltdown. I mean, it was like a malfunction. That's what I thought I was witnessing. Let's play the soundbite.
And to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I grew up in small rural Nebraska, town of 400, town that you rode your bike with your buddies till the streetlights come on, and I'm proud of that service. I joined the National Guard at 17, worked on family farms, and then I used the GI Bill to become a teacher, passionate about it, a young teacher. My first year out, I got the opportunity in the summer of 89 to travel to China. 35 years ago, be able to do that. I came back home and then started a program to take young people there. We would take basketball teams, we would take baseball teams, we would take dancers, and we would go back and forth to China. The issue for that was to try and learn. Now, look, my community knows who I am. They saw where I was at. Look, I will be the first to tell you, I have poured my heart into my community. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect, and I'm a knucklehead at times, but it's always been about that.
It's
Watch.
so bad.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protest, went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Thank you, Governor.
Jeez.
Okay.
Oh, man.
What he said earlier, it was a disaster. But just so you know, according to the reporting, Walz described being in Hong Kong in May 1989, didn't go till August, during the student uprising that culminated in the Tiananmen Square massacre, an assertion that is belied by newspaper accounts at the time. Quote, as the events were unfolding, several of us went in, Walz said, at a 2014 hearing commemorating the massacre's 25th anniversary. I still remember the train station in Hong Kong. Several of us went in as the events were unfolding. What? Again, it's like the Hillary Clinton Bosnia moment, that as she could feel the bullets licking her hair as they shot past Moynihan. It's like, these are lies. He did not go in anywhere. He was sitting his ass in the Midwest. He did not go for months after the massacre.
Yes. I mean, weirdly, habitual liars become politicians. Shocking. That this happened. I have to say, not prepared for that answer. I wasn't, as a listener, prepared for his answer. I was driving last night and I almost had to pull over during this because, I know this is coming. And by the way, to point out, he has said this multiple times, that he was in China, he was in Hong Kong. Hong Kong, by the way, at Tiananmen in 89 was not a part of China. It was 96 it went back to China. But his response, which is like, I mean, who in America? Because his response is like, I was at Lake Minnetonka playing hockey one time. And it's like, dude, no, seriously, you're going to be the vice president. No.
He grew up in a neighborhood where they rode their bikes until the streetlights went on. Who gives a shit? So did I. That doesn't make me qualified to be vice president. No one cares.
The Chinese didn't have the streetlights or something. I don't know where. But I love the best bit was I kept on waiting for him to get to the, studied denial that they'd presumably gone over a million times. And he then says, we brought dancers. And I was like, what are you talking about? No, I mean, it was unbelievable. That was the one thing that I knew that he should expect. I mean, Doug Emhoff is like the least of, Matt, by the way, I just want to point out, I do a podcast with Matt Welch, and I do want to distance myself from a Doug Emhoff apologist, like Matt, and I know that he has been having a relationship with his own nanny, which a lot. But let's not. I don't want.
Au pair is different. We've gone over this.
Open hand slaps only. Open hand slaps only. Yeah.
But yes, and that was Camille.
Can we just watch? I think we need to replay. You guys replay that second part of the Tim Walz answer on the Tiananmen thing, where it peters out at the end. Because I'll tell you, you know what it had to me? Forgive me, but it had Ron DeSantis weird smile vibes, didn't it? At the end, like where you're like, and I don't forget to smile. Okay, just watch.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this is I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in
there it is.
Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Thank you, Governor.
And I wish I had stopped speaking 2 sentences ago. That's what he was.
I love the formulation, which he did in other places last night of, what I've said is, which is a way of saying that you had an effective line in campaign appearances that I wish I could translate now in a different context so that you would all understand. But maybe if I say it, it'll sound like it's past tense and it's already been fact checked at the previous debate. So can we move on, please? Have I run out of time? It is so
well. And here's where was the little gift follow up to JD Vance, like Tim Walz got after everything? Like, would you like to fact check specifically the following 2 claims that I just heard from your opponent? They kept giving Walz those opportunities. That would have been a great moment to look at JD Vance and say, do you accept that he just misspoke when he said he was at the massacre and in China when this happened, when in fact he was sitting in Nebraska or Minnesota, wherever he was at the time? Well, JD Vance didn't get any of those opportunities, and it would have been a great chance for JD Vance to say, no, I don't accept that, because this is at least the 12th lie he's told publicly that we caught him in, and we've only known him for 8 weeks.
No, the mics weren't off. So JD could have pushed in there and probably should have. I mean, if I'd been there, I would have said, I know a little something about geography, and I know that the distance between Beijing and Hong Kong is actually not inconsequential. I have no idea what this man is talking about. It seems like he is telling yet another self-serving lie, and he should just own it if that is what happened. We can forgive you, but only if you can admit that you lied.
I don't know why politicians
he was back
don't do that.
stateside, wasn't? I think he was stateside when it happened, and then traveled to China in August. So he wasn't even close.
Yes, months removed.
Yeah, but he was at a Chinese restaurant that night. It was great. He had a great meal.
Peking duck.
Hungry Root is one very easy way to eat healthy. They send you fresh, high-quality groceries, simple, delicious recipes. Simple, that's key. And essential supplements. It's like having someone else do all the planning and shopping, that's the bad part, so that you don't even have to think about it. Hungry Root gets to know your personal health goals, dietary restrictions, favorite foods, how much time you want to spend cooking, and more. Then they build you a personalized cart for the week, including easy 4-ingredient recipes to put those groceries to use. Each order is fully customizable. They've got fresh produce, high-quality meat, healthy snacks, and more. Everything from Hungry Root follows a simple standard. It must taste good, be quick to make, and contain whole, trusted ingredients. Hungry Root right now offering the Megyn Kelly Show viewers 40% off your first delivery and free veggies for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/Megyn to get 40% off your first delivery and get your free veggies. hungryroot.com/Megyn. Don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.